Okay, good afternoon. Thank you for coming our presentation. My name is Tae Kim, majoring in business. Before we start the presentation, let me ask you 3 questions. Okay, the first question is, have you ever heard about UN or EU?
No.
Yes. I think you heard about this a lot. Okay, next question. Have you ever heard about IGOs?
Yes.
Of course, because we've taught this in our class. So if you haven't heard about this, maybe professor is a little upset. Okay, the last question. Can you explain exactly the definition of IGOs?
No.
Probably not. That's why we prepare for this presentation. The purpose of the presentation is to explain and make you aware of IGOs. There are so many IGOs, so we want to explain all of IGOs, but today we don't have much time, so we will introduce just 4 functions. And what is IGOs? IGO is International Governmental Organization, and IGO is established by various countries to achieve common goals. And IGO have various functions and have various kinds depending on the function. So we want to explain the 4 functions of IGOs: economy, environment, security, and education. The first, Jehu will introduce economy and the IGO of IMF, and Hyun will explain environment part and the UNEP IGO. And third, Wonseok will explain the security and NATO IGOs. And finally, Haemin will introduce education parts and the IGO of UNESCO. Okay, let's start.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to talk about the role and importance of economic IGO. Economic IGO play a role in addressing global issues and fostering cooperation among countries. In this presentation, we will talk about the key economic related IGO and examine its functions and its roles. Here we go. First, why is it important? Economic IGOs are important and deserve attention because an economic crisis can occur at any time, and financial crises in one country affect others. In 1997, Thailand had a very hard time because of its financial crisis, and it affected to South Korea, so also South Korea had a hard time because of its financial situations. At that time, organizations like IMF gave a lot of effort to recover the South Korea's financial situations. So understanding IGOs show how the world connects around us. There are many economic IGOs roles. First, IGO help countries work together to solve problems. And also, they make trades between countries easier. Generally, trade allows countries to sell what they produce and buy what they want. They create rules that make trade fair and open to all countries. And also, they reduce poverty and improve infrastructure. For example, IGO give a lot of money to poor countries, and poor countries can build schools, hospitals, and roads by this money. And by this process, people in that country can live much better life. To organize, IGO make the world more stable, fair, and connected. Then what is IMF? IMF helps countries with financial problems, and it was created in 1944 for stability. Its main goal is to ensure the stability of the monetary system, so it provides loans and advice during crisis. And it monitors countries' economies to help keep the global economy stable. In conclusion, IMF plays a key role in maintaining healthy global economy. To know more about IMF, we have to know the Korean financial crisis that occurred in 1997. There are many key causes. First, many companies had too much debt and they borrowed money but couldn't repay. Even though Samsung and LG earn a lot of money these days, but at that time, they didn't repay the borrowed money. And also, South Korea was a very poor country and not a developed country at the time. So the financial system lacked enough control and regulation, and the government lacked knowledge to handle financial problems. As a result, the value of the Korean won dropped sharply, and foreign investors lost confidence in South Korea. So in 1997, like this, unemployment and the unemployment rate peaked. However, South Korea experienced a remarkable economic growth from minus 6.9% to 9.5%. IMF gave a lot of effort to recover financial crisis of South Korea. Then what exactly IMF did? There are many IMF assistances. First, IMF gave emergency money to South Korea. It gave $55 billion, and this money helped South Korea from going bankrupt and collapsing. And also, it gave a lot of financial advice for economic recovery. And this advice helped the government control spending and to fix the banking system at the time. As a result, South Korea could bring back investor trust again, and this process allowed South Korea's market re-entry. As a result, IMF plays a significant role in financial situation and recover the nation's crisis. Let's go on to the next step, and here I'm going to talk about the role and importance of environmental IGO.
Hello, I'm Hyun, and I would like to talk about the role and importance of environmental IGO. Today, the world is facing lots of environmental issues such as global warming. Let's take a look at this program. Climate scientists at Hawking showed warming strips to highlight visually the progression of this problem. According to this graph, the average annual temperature is gradually increasing. Also, it appears deeper blue as it is colder year and deeper red as it is hotter year compared to the baseline temperature. Thus, this simple visual helps people to recognize how serious the global warming is. Then, what should IGOs do? Let's take a look at the roles of environmental IGO. First, they promote sustainable development for their future generations. Second, they make international environment agreements to raise the global cooperation. Third, they preserve and restore ecosystems to save biodiversity. Fourth, they offer environmental research and data delivery to all over the world, especially to developing countries. Lastly, they raise environmental awareness of green issues. All of these roles contribute to solving the environmental problems. Let's take a closer look at one of these IGOs. Have you ever heard about Kyoto Protocol? You might have heard this word in social textbook at least once. It is UNEP that's driving these important agreements. The United Nations Environment Programme, or UNEP, is the leading global authority on the environment. Its mission is to inspire people and nations to improve their quality of life without compromising with future generations. Let's take a look at UNEP's key roles. First, they set global environment policies such as the Paris Agreement or the Montreal Protocol. These agreements contain global cooperation. Second, they assess and report on the state of environment, such as the Global Environment Outlook. It provides valuable data for evidence-based decision making. Lastly, they promote